on some hush puppy shoes. Let's play it one time. Woo!
Next, we're going to go to Scott, who's going to talk to us about 5 veteran musicians who basically owe their existence in this band to their shared love for America's pastime. So, Scotty, it's all yours, buddy.
Yes, I always love talking about baseball on Super Bowl Sunday. You know,
It's very appropriate, doesn't it?
Hey, you know, Super Bowl Sunday comes along. That just means that pitchers and catchers report pretty soon, right?
And you just got to steal KC's thunder today, right?
Yeah, I mean, I grew up at a time when and in a city where football was just something to do between baseball seasons, right? Dee knows what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Steve Wynn, formerly of the Dream Syndicate, formerly of Gutterball, another supergroup that he had formed a few years before this. He and a guy named Scott McGooey were at Rock and Roll Hall of Fame induction for REM. Sharing baseball story. They were both baseball fans, and I got talking, and they thought at some point they thought, well, this would be cool to write some baseball songs and get it together. Well, McGooey at this time he was actually collaborating quite a bit with REM during REM's latter days when he was doing some session work with them. He was touring with them. And well, it turned out that Peter Buck of REM also was a big baseball fan. So he said, well, I'd like to get involved with this. And then Steve Wynn's wife, Linda Pittman, who had been in a couple of other bands previous to this, she was also a baseball fan she was from Minnesota. She was a big fan of the Twins. So these 4 people got together and wrote some songs. You know, just songs about baseball history, what was going on at the time. And they put together this band called the Baseball Project. And they released an album in 2008 on Yep Rock Records called Volume 1, Frozen Ropes and Dying Quails. And we'll just take a short trip here. Bob can explain to you what the title of that album meant, right?
You're asking a lot from me.
Bob, tell our listeners what Frozen Ropes and Dying Quails are.
I got nothing. Sorry.
Some of the titles of these songs in this album are Gratitude for Kurt Flood. Steve Wynn wrote and performed a song titled Ted Fucking Williams, which tells you what everybody needs to know about Ted Williams.
Greatest hitter who ever lived.
The greatest hitter who ever lived, but as far as people do, you know, he was like 4th or 5th on people's list, you know, behind Babe Ruth and DiMaggio and some of the guys in New York, right? McGooey contributed a song called Satchel Paige Said, which was about the old Negro League pitcher who actually made his major league debut when he was like 47 years old, something like that. Fernando Media. Steve Wynn wrote a song called Harvey Haddocks, which he talks about perfect games.
David Wells, David Cohn, Randy Johnson, Addie Johnson, Kenny Rogers, Mike Witt, Dennis Martinez, Don Larson in the series in 1956. Why don't we add old Harvey to the list? Get perfect, Scott.
And the funniest song on the album is a Scott McGooey tune called The Yankee Flipper, which I don't know if you guys remember the story, but this is about the White Sox pitcher who went to the Yankees, Blackjack McDowell, right? And and he signed a big free agent money contract with the Yankees, and he had a bad game early in his career with the Yankees, and the manager came and pulled him out of the game, and the fans cascaded him with booze. And at that moment is when he became known as the Yankee Flipper. I don't know. And so they wrote a song about it. So it was real good. I mean, it was just a nice indie rock album, good rock and roll songs. It got a bit of attention. And so this band went out on this tour and played a few festivals playing these songs, got good reception. They end up going to doing a tour of spring training parks and performing the national anthem. And I think they performed the national anthem at a few baseball stadiums the next year. So the following year, or actually 2 years later, in 2010, they made a deal with ESPN where they would once a month for the entirety of the baseball season, I think from March, from spring training until October, the end of the World Series, once a month they wrote a song and posted it for streaming on ESPN.com on their website. And they it was for download. Fans go in and download. I remember that I would go in once a month. I would find that song and I would download it, and I compiled it into my own album, right? And my own playlist. And I actually did release it on an album later called Broadside Ballads. And then about this point, about 2011, Mike Mills, also from REM, joined them, and they became a five-piece at that point. And they released a record in 2011 called Volume 2, High and Inside.
Odd chin music, a little chin music would serve those rookies well. Pitch count, set a man, 5-man rotation, whirlpool, Tommy John, pinpoint location. And they still can't do what those old guys did. Odd chin music, a little chin music separates the man from the kids. All right, we're gonna get high and inside, high and inside.
And they released another record in 2014 titled Third. And this is good stuff. It's good stuff for rock and roll fans. It's great stuff for baseball fans if you're into it. And it's not just toss away stuff. I mean, this is really pretty good rock and roll music. And they released a couple of EPs called the Home Run EP in 2009, El Hombre in 2012. There's a surprisingly good amount of material that this band put out. So they got a lot of mileage out of this stuff, which is surprising given the subject matter. But they got so much attention, and fans bought the records, and they did very well for a time. Bill, have you heard any of this stuff?
Oh yeah. I especially since Scott McCauley, you mentioned his REM work, which is significant, but he also had a couple of independent bands, the -5 and the Fine Fresh Fellows, I think. So real good grounding in power pop, and the work that these guys do. I mean, what's interesting is the music is catchy, and as you said, for baseball fans, it's really kind of cool because it talks about very specific either incidents or careers that you're not just of the stars, but also umpires and managers and other people who hang around the game, and they're all really kind of sharply observed stuff and very memorable in terms of the melody. So I really enjoy it myself. I think of the three albums, my favorite is probably the first one, but they all merit attention. And I mean, you can listen to them without being a sports fan, because you're going to get a little insight into how people think, and as you mentioned, they cover different eras of the game and how it's changed.
Oh yeah, they go way back. One of my favorite songs by them was about Ed Delahanty, the guy back in the 1910s who died when he got drunk and fell under a train.
Yep.
Yeah,
Big
Ed
Ed.
Delahanty,
Big
yeah.
Ed. Mm-hmm.
Are you familiar with this one, D?
Only on a surface level. I heard of the baseball projects. I've only heard a couple tunes, but my question is, has Major League Baseball endorsed or used any of these songs for any, do we know if any teams have used any of these songs like before a game or during a game,
I don't know if that's ever happened, not that I know of, but whether they've licensed any of their tunes, I'm not sure. I don't know if they've done that. Not that I know of, but that doesn't mean that they haven't. Yeah.
I don't know if they have, but if the Baseball Hall of Fame, if they have a cultural musical section, I would think this, some of their songs could be added to it.
Giants got the panda, Giants got the freak. The panda smoking like drugs, the freak is the heat. Panda and the freak, panda and the freak.
Your playboy, put on some hush puppy shoes. Let's play it one time. Woo!